Hi there once again. Great to have you with us. Thanks for being a part of Leading Edge once again this week. I'm your host, Jeff Smith. Well, the headlines in November read, quote, "This Libertarian candidate may have swung Ohio's most competitive congressional race," end quote. Tom Pruss, he scored 14,800 votes in what was one of the closer House races in the U.S. and without a doubt, one of the tightest races ever for the longest-serving woman in Congress. So how did he do it? What was his read on the race? We're glad to have Tom Pruss joining us here. We have finally settled. Everything has settled from November and, of course, the holiday season. You've got some other responsibilities during the holidays. We will talk about that in a minute. But I do want to go back to just first and foremost for me, define for me, is Libertarian a none of the above candidate, or is there something else at play there? Because obviously, almost 15,000 votes is nothing to shake your hat at.
Well, I like to put it, this is my elevator pitch for a libertarianism. We are diligently plotting to take over the world to leave you alone.
Okay.
That's our whole plan. It's a totally different animal. People think that, oh, libertarians are just Republicans that smoke pot, or they're Democrats that want to see the end of put us on the gold standard, things like that. It's not the truth. It's like we are our own separate animal. And what we're more concerned about is your freedom, your individual rights, the idea what you do in your home or in your business is your business. It's not the government's business. And for people who say, well, Republicans are just like, they're not. You know, when they pass things like the Patriot Act, which are totally against, or in this case, we have a president right now who's mass deportating millions of people. So again, I don't understand where the correlation is that people say this, but again, we're a separate animal.
All right, so let's dive into you playing out what November was, what it ended up being, and how much campaigning did you actually do? Because to a fault, we didn't cover you.
That is correct.
And you have brought that up to me. You did not get a call from us. You did not get a call from the other stations. You did not have a sit down with the Blade. The Blade passed on it.
At least you guys were kind enough during the election, on the election night, to at least put my name on the ticker at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, other stations didn't even bother to do that. So how much campaigning I did? I went to events. I did.
How many?
About 3 or 4.
Okay.
But again, there was very few.
Yeah.
And I just want to go on the record saying there was only one event that I went to that I saw one of my opponents there. They had not been to either ones that I went to.
Yeah.
They just didn't care.
Yeah. What kind of conversations did you have with either of the camps?
Very little contact. In fact, no contact whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. It's just been one of those situations where I was approached by.
I don't want to say which.
Okay,
I just want to say you were approached by one of the camps to get out of the race.
Oh yes, I was. Oh yes, I was.
More than one time?
More than once. More than once. You know, messages, text messages, which I still have on my phone, and I've had a former chairman.
What was your response?
My response
because what was in your mind's eye? Tom Pruss, I've run for office before, successfully, unsuccessfully. Did you think you had a snowball's chance and you know what of winning?
I don't wear rose-colored glasses, Jeff. I know that it would be a hard road to hoe. So people said, then why stay in the race? Because it's my God-given right as an American citizen. If I want to run for office, I can run for office.
Okay.
It's just that plain and simple. It's just that plain and simple.
But did you have conversations? Did you receive messages saying you're ruining?
Yes,
you're ruining the game.
You're ruining my plan was one that I received from somebody. They had some sort of agenda, and they thought that it would look good on them if they got me out of the race. It wasn't going to happen.
Is it a badge of honor for you? Almost 15,000 votes. Do you think where did I get 15,000 votes?
I know where I got those 15,000 votes, and some people seem to think that it was these are votes that were made for the Republican, and I want to know what kind of soothsayers are they talking to? Because these are votes that I can tell you right now in Lucas County, I probably know 200 people personally, and of that, I imagine another 500 people know of me.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason. I don't understand how they said that these votes would have gone for Republicans, because my platform clearly said that I was pro-immigration, pro-drug legalization, and pro-bodily autonomy. If there's Republicans that believe in those three things, I'd like to meet them, because they're libertarians, and they just don't know it.
Is there more running for office in your future?
I would say you got to watch and see. I know that's a very tap dancey political answer.
That's a tease in our business.
But it's hard to say. I love the idea. I've been involved in politics since I was a junior in high school, and I just think the idea of being able to help people, help the community, help just bring some common sense to our government. Yeah. I guess is the key.
Yes or no, can you say, were you offered money to get out of the race?
There were dollar amounts that talked. So
that's a yes.
That would be an affirmative in the idea that the money was discussed.
Okay. There's a gubernatorial race in 26. Mm-hmm. Will Tom Pruss be running for governor for the state of Ohio?
Not unless someone's willing to drop a ton of cash in my lap.
In your way.
And I find that hard to believe that, in this day and age, the Senate Republicans in Ohio created legislation that makes it very difficult for third parties to be on the ballot. Yeah. They're afraid that we're going to take votes away from them. The Democrats, same situation. Their goal is to stay in power. They don't want to see another party in there. Is the plan to have somebody run for governor? Absolutely. Because I look at the type of caliber that they're trying to run, we need somebody else.
Last question. Did you ruin the race in November?
No. I added more, a divergent voice to the bad campaigning that both sides were out there pushing.
Tom, we appreciate you spending some time with us. Tom also is a helper of the Man Up North each and every year, so we appreciate the time that you have not only delved into the ventures here at WTOL 11, but throughout the community.
Well, I thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Good talk.
Thanks.
We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back here on Leading Edge. It was a turbulent week for Ohio politics. A lot going on. It'll be an interesting next few weeks for the next General Assembly. We connected with the Ohio Capital Journal's editor-in-chief, and I started off by asking him about the surprise factor for he and his newsroom when it came to the naming of Lieutenant Governor Jon Husted to fill J.D. Vance's Senate seat.
Well, I wasn't totally surprised by it, because it seemed to make sense that DeWine would do what he could. DeWine and Husted formed this alliance back in 2018 when they decided to join the ticket, when Husted joined DeWine's ticket. And I think that all along Husted had been planning to run for governor. The governor field's getting a little crowded. DeWine has experience doing both. Husted had prior experience in the legislature, the state legislature, so he's not necessarily, he's been an administrator or secretary of state as well, so he's not naturally one or the other. He's done both. So even he himself said that he went back and forth a lot on deciding which one he wanted to do, run for governor or take this Senate appointment. I was not surprised.
How good of a shot do you think Jon Husted had at becoming governor?
I think that the thing that will help him as a senator, and it would have helped him in the governor's race, is that he's a prodigious fundraiser. He's got a lot of connections. He's been around for a long time. He's very ingrained in the Ohio Republican system, so he can raise a lot of money. I think that would have helped him a lot, but you're also looking at candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy, who would be able to self-fund entirely a campaign. And I think it's a safer thing for Husted, even though he would have been considered, at least out of the gate, a strong front runner for governor. I think it's probably a safer bet for him to take this appointment now with the Senate, even though he's going to have to run again in 2026 and 2028. He has the fundraising prowess to do that. He becomes an incumbent, gives him an advantage. Politically, it's a safer bet for him to go with Senate.
Let's talk about Lieutenant Governor. Obviously, it opens a spot. Who do you think is on the short list for that position? And I'll throw out a name to you, Liddy Mahalik. What do you think?
I think that's a great name to throw out, because that has been the one consistent name that our newsroom has heard from almost everybody that we've talked to. And to get back to your point, what are we doing? We're working sources we're talking to as many insiders as we can and trying to figure out, what people are kicking around to each other when they're calling each other and talking to the phone, about what might happen next. And Lydia is been mentioned by pretty much everybody that our newsroom has talked to. I think that some things that fall in line, she's been a longtime ally of DeWine. Like Husted, she has this focus. She's the Ohio Department of Development director. She has a strong emphasis on jobs, economy, development. It's been a big priority for the DeWine Husted administration. She's kind of a natural fit to replace Husted in a lot of the roles that he did.
But obviously, you think about that lieutenant governor position and it being in line for the gubernatorial position come 26. However, she doesn't strike me as being ready for that. What are your sources telling you?
So, yeah, that's a good point because he might want to try to tee somebody up for being next in line to run for governor. Although that would require DeWine making some sort of decision between, for instance, Attorney General Dave Yost and Treasurer Robert Sprague. Both of them are definitely in line. Yost just announced, it was already known, but he announced officially. They're both definitely going to run for governor. I'm not sure if DeWine will want to pick between those two. He might just want to let them both duke it out with Ramaswamy and not put his thumb on the scale, as it were, in any way, and go for somebody who's not really looking to be governor next in these 2 years, basically, as LG. Now,
What
if he
is the sense?
does,
What is the sense downstate as far as the Ramaswamy name?
I mean, I think that people just know that he has a lot of money and he can run for governor if that's what he wants to do. He's very clearly interested in continuing to involve himself in one way or another. So
Would he win Hamilton County? Would he win Mason County? Would he have a stronghold in Southwest Ohio, do you think?
I think that if somehow he were able to get the Trump endorsement, if the Trump endorsement still means as much by that time as it means right now or has meant in the past couple of years, then he would have a good shot. I think anybody who gets the Trump endorsement, if it means as much, because a lot could happen in the next 2 years, and people might sour on Trump if he does some stuff that a lot of people don't like. But as of right now, if I think that would still be expected to play a big role. So it's not off bet. But Dave Yost and Sprague have both run multiple statewide campaigns before. They have a lot of networks. They might not have his personal wealth, but they have a lot of experience and networks in Ohio politics and a lot of people who would want to help them out. So I think it might be, at least out of the gate, I would guess it's a very close primary between all three of them.
In our last couple of minutes, let's talk about the General Assembly going forward. What are you going to be watching for? What do you think can be accomplished here in the next few months?
Yeah, so the big thing this year is the state budget, and primarily the big thing that I'm watching is education. I'm watching funding for K through 12 public education. I'm watching funding for private education and charter schools, and I'm watching what they do to overhaul higher education. They've talked about getting rid of collective bargaining for staff and faculty in higher education. They've talked about not going forward with the fair school funding formula for K through 12 public schools. They're already giving about $1 billion, a little bit less than $1 billion to private schools for vouchers, scholarship vouchers. Will they continue to do that? Will that mean that they'll cut from public schools in order to give more to private schools? Will they succeed this time in overhauling higher education? Those are some of the big ticket things. And then the other big parts of the state budget are Medicaid. So the first 6 months of the year, what they do with all of that education and, government-sponsored health insurance with Medicaid and Medicare and things like that, we're going to be keeping a big eye on that type of stuff.
Welcome back once again. We always want to shine a light on great programming in our area and efforts for passion and purpose. That is why this week I wanted to take some time to feature Toledo Tomorrow. And joining us here on Leading Edge is Bob Savage. So first and foremost, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it because I feel there is so much merit in what you guys are doing, trying to implement this program into schools in the area. So I wanted to give you kind of a platform here to begin, just kind of talk about the mission. What is Toledo Tomorrow?
Sure. Thanks, Jeff, and glad to be here. So Toledo Tomorrow is an education support nonprofit organization. We started as a college and career access group, and we still do a lot of that. And we have then also added, we coordinate a regional education partnership to lift up all education organizations in the community. But we are here to see success for every child in school and then in life. And obviously the first sets up the second. But at our core, we believe that intelligence and talent are pretty universally distributed, but opportunity is not, and unfortunately not even close.
Yeah, talk about how you guys are spread throughout the area. I asked you, and I used the word saturation.
Sure.
How many schools are you in? How much access do you have to districts around Northwest Ohio?
We work with where we are providing direct services. We work with over 20 high schools. We spend a lot of time with.
Is that seeking? Is that a case of them seeking you out, you seeking them out?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
In some instances, and we have been partnered with the state of Ohio now for 5 years, and we are actually the only community-based organization, outside organization, that provides these services in all of Northwest Ohio. So they would like us to see us spread out a lot. And when they first came with that request, I was like, time out. I've only got 6 people here.
Yeah.
We can't cover all these counties.
You are going into these schools, and what are the boxes you're checking off when you get implemented?
Yeah, we go in and we work with, where we're providing services, high school students, and especially we do more certainly junior and senior year, and we do everything from take students on tours of colleges and also companies. We do the career tech workforce side of things. We know we have lots of students that won't go to college or won't go to college right away. And there's obviously tons of great employers here that most youth have very little or maybe no exposure to it at all. So we're doing both of those things, but then all the way to help the students.
Are you guys a conduit, for these kids to not only get a little bit of exposure to these institutions of higher education, but also potentially employers?
We are. Absolutely. In fact, we have more employers that are involved with what's called work-based learning and sort of the incorporation of the company into the schools or vice versa. In fact, we have a company that just came to us last week and said, hey, we would actually like a high school intern right now. And so we're in the midst of signing up a student at one of our schools who's in a career tech program that fits there. And we're actually looking for, although we have a lot of great employers already involved, we're certainly looking for more. We are here to build bridges and pathways to the employers here. This is not just about education. It is about helping the economic vitality of the entire region. And it is about building a better economy as well, and a workforce.
Is this a career fair 365? Is that kind of how you look at it?
A little bit. And we realize it's a process. You're not just going to have a career fair and all of a sudden, solve the problems. And we're not, unfortunately, going to solve all the problems in the next year or two. And
I don't mean that to be a flip analogy.
No, but we're doing work every week, and we do everything from take kids on tours. We have companies. They have representatives and experts that sit on committees within the schools and the school districts to inform the programming that is going on there. They come in and give talks once in a while. And then we're a pretty big help to the school counselors who are swamped.
Higher education
with
is
all kinds of things.
You and I were talking about it. Higher education is not for everybody.
Right.
And the costs. I told you, I've got 2 kids in college right now. I was dumbfounded by the process. Dumbfounded by the process of this Kohl's cash, as I referred to it, that they would just throw at you, but still not make a dent in what mom and dad are writing out checks for. So how do you talk to parents, do you talk to students about the costs that are incurred, the worth of that money?
Right. We do certainly do that, and we walk through that, because we also know that's the biggest impediment for students that think maybe they want to go to college is cost. And that's not a Toledo thing in Northwest Ohio, that's all across the country. So we go in and sit down, and we spend a lot of time also with our students helping them look for financial aid. And you can imagine, your kids had the benefit of having, you and the parents at home. But I was a little bit surprised, and I've been doing this long enough now, I don't get surprised all that often. Over half of the college students in the United States right now are first-generation college. They are the first person in their house. over half. So you can, and depending on what support you have at home or just the experience you have at home, it can look very different. The cost of college certainly has continued to go up. It goes up at about 7% a year.
Yeah.
And you have funding, including state of Ohio funding, has been cut dramatically over the last 25 years. And the cost of college going up, and that's not good, and we need to fix that. And there are some systemic things that probably need to be fixed. But what doesn't get talked about a lot is the value of the college degree has also been going up. I mean, college degrees are worth about $1 million a year over the course, not a year, over the course of a lifetime.
Okay.
To those who go through and complete
their degree.
Complete college.
And in our last minute, I want to give you an opportunity to tell people how they find Toledo Tomorrow.
Sure. ToledoTomorrow.org, our website, is certainly the best way to find us. You'll find us on social media as well. But, don't be discouraged by the cost. Don't be scared by the websites. I mean, if you go to UT's website and BG's, and they're great colleges, as is Owens Community College, you're going to see a number, and it's going to be big. But if you Google cost of attendance, you'll see a breakdown by income bracket on what you can expect to pay as your family if you have a family. And then as we can't just start in high school and college. We need to start earlier too. We have only 30% of the youth in the county are prepared for kindergarten when they get there. 40% of students in Ohio, not just Toledo, can't read at grade level. Those are things that we need
to work on earlier.
Yes.
Bob, thank you.
Yeah.
So good to talk to you.
Thanks, Jeff.
We appreciate it. And check out ToledoTomorrow.org. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
You got something or someone you want us to feature on Leading Edge? Reach out to me. It's simply jeffsmith@WTOL.com. Thank you so much for watching on WTOL 11, WTOL 11 Plus, and YouTube. We hope to see you next time on Leading Edge.